May is Mental Health Awareness Month. But mental health awareness kind of feels like walking around in this world wearing see-through pants. You're always worried someone's going to see your nuts.
But we're never going to survive unless we get a little crazy.
And it's time for another unbuckled bumpy ride with your guide, the stark raving LEAN-atic himself. I'm Jim. Let's jump right in again. Welcome to my podcast based on my brand new book, available on Amazon, Live Life Lean, L-E-A-N. It's a year-long guide to gratitude and our daily grind. The book that combines some timeless wisdom from a whole lot of the world's wiser people with the reflections, reactions, and wisecracks of the guide's author, me. And it guides you, the reader, through the simplest system for a happy, healthy, authentic, and genuinely grateful everyday experience. I urge you to get the book. Of course I do. I wrote it. It's either at Amazon or at my website, ampurage.com. A-M-M-P-U-R-A-G-E. But even without it, let's make next week better than last, our next year better than the past, and get started now with today's episode of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, don't let them see your nuts. Last year, I did an episode saying that what we needed when it comes to Mental Health Awareness Month, was a little less awareness and a little more action. But maybe we should all actively seek to be aware of how many have suffered, now and through history, from depression and anxiety. Like Joyce Meyer, like Rick Warren, and even like a fella named Jesus. Some folks fight through life solo until they get solo, and they do so because sharing their burdens feels like being the guy who's walking around in public wearing saran-wrap see-through pants. You think everyone will see your nuts. It's like that old story about the crazy emperor who was convinced to walk around in invisible clothes. They were so rare and so unique that only the smartest and best people could even see them. The emperor's new clothes or something like that. Until some little, honest, innocent kid pointed out, "Hey, that emperor is like crazy naked." No amount of kingly riches can cover up true insanity. Am I right? Henry David Thoreau once said, "A man is rich in proportion to the things he can afford to leave alone." But true wealth, true riches, is not the numbers and commas on just one side of a bank balance decimal point. We know that now. With how we see inflation silently taxing us and taking its toll on how much we thought we had, how well off we once thought we were. No, it comes down to how much we can do with what we have. It's the freedom to do whatever that means to you. That's the only power behind wealth and riches. So maybe Thoreau's quote, "A man is rich in proportion to the things he can afford to leave alone," can afford to leave behind, to let go of, to carry on without having to carry their burden. Well, hell, if any amount of moolah out there can buy off any and all of our burdens, just buy them off on demand, now that is some serious buying power. That is rich. Or at least wealthy, healthy, and wise. So how do we live a life that is rich in healthy, wealthy, and wise? For that matter, mentally, what is healthy? What is mentally wealthy? What is wise? Recently, I was in a waiting room to speak with my therapist, a guy who's my counselor, my couch coach. I call him that because he sits in a chair, kind of elevated, and I sit on a stereotypical sofa. So yeah, he's my couch coach. Well, once my couch coach asked me if I felt I had any irrational fears. I told him I was afraid he'd ask that. Hey, it's my therapy. I can poke fun at myself if I want. It's healthy. But one time, genuinely, when he asked how I was, I kicked it right off saying that I had a beef with the facility that he worked at. And so we had this conversation about all the labels, mental illness labels all over the place, out in the waiting room, all over the place, posters of celebrities, magazines, artwork, labels everywhere, labels that whispered and spoke and shouted out loud about mental illness. So I told him, hey, listen, I get it, destigmatizing, but how's about some redefining? So I said, please define for me, what is mental wellness? How is about mental wellness versus mental illness? Isn't it all degrees and states of healthy functioning? Damn, though, this label, this mental illness label, once someone puts it on or has it put on them, isn't it potentially like a tattoo on their soul? How do they ever feel enough in the light that they don't look over their shoulder for its shadow everywhere they go? The haunting shadow of mental illness. My counselor nodded quietly. I think he gets a kick out of me. So I told a female friend of ours, of my wife and mine, this exact same story, and she smiled, and she nodded at me as well. And now having shared this with her, because I know she's someone who fights the good fight, she smiled, she stood taller, and I noticed this because she's a little mighty mite. But see, we need to remember the body never works perfectly in this imperfect world of ours. It never has, it never will. And the mind does not either. Never has, never will. Not perfectly. And we all will be one step further from illness and one step on our way to wellness when we share this truth about ourselves, share it with one another and with ourselves. But this truth, it can be gut-wrenching. And we think, or we feel or act like we're all alone in this truth about our mental health. Like the successful folks in the world, they never experience this. Only the disgusting losers. And who wants to be or be seen as a disgusting loser? Well, I do. I want to be a disgusting loser because I want to lose all the disgusting stuff. That's why I go to therapy and counseling. See, I notice when we discuss the disgusting stuff, it seems like discussing the disgusting is the most natural neutralizer. And when I say disgusting stuff, I mean like stuff that tastes bad leaving it in your mouth. We just want to spit it out. It doesn't taste tasty leaving it there. It's not like the stuff that you want to swiggy, swishy, swirl it and twirl it around in your mouth because it feels so good. No. We want to spit the disgusting stuff out. Lose the disgusting stuff. Be a disgusting loser and lose the disgusting. But if we do, what might people think? I mean, who wants to see or experience or be exposed to someone spitting stuff up, spitting stuff out? I just watched a football movie the other night with Keanu Reeves. It's called The Replacement. One guy started puking up eggs on the football field in the middle of the huddle. And you can imagine what a 300-pound lineman's puke smelled and looked exactly like. Well, guess what? Now more guys started spewing after he did. And what they spewed was authentic, gut-level stuff. Gut truth, you might say. Gut level is right. Gut level disgusting. Puking their guts out. But guess what? That's also what we call it when people start confessing. Confessing what's mentally, emotionally, psychologically twisting up their guts inside. They need to puke some truth. Just throw it up and get what feels disgusting out. But who wants to see that? And who wants to let others see that? Who wants to burden others with all that disgustingness? Well, some folks don't care who sees it. And those some folks, they might be right. See, I used to live in LA, big homelessness problem there. And when you're homeless, I guess it kind of gets to seem like you don't care what you share. You don't care who sees what you do or hears what you say. You just share for the whole world to know, because you got to take care of you. So, homeless people, walking and talking and walking, and maybe not even walking, but still talking to themselves. I used to notice so much of it, and I was always made aware of how important verbal expression is to all humans. That when burdened and wrestling with worries, duking it out with depression, or angling our way around anxiety, we humans just gotta talk it out. Out of your mind and out of your mouth and out there. Share it out there for anyone. Please, oh God, for anyone to see. You might feel like the world sees you as being some psychopath, but hey, good news. At least you're on a path. And somehow, those of us who don't sleep beneath underpasses or overpasses, those of us who are not homeless yet, we think that we've got it all together because we don't stress less and anxiety and depression. We don't let it wreak havoc and wreck us like that. Not yet. So sleeping beneath overpasses or on sleep number mattresses, it doesn't matter. Depression and anxiety are all mental health issues that we all should share in some caring and some awareness of. But I mean, think about people like this. It must be terrible to be somebody who feels depression and can't get out of bed easily, the way they want. It must be awful to be someone who's so attacked by anxiety that they can't stay in bed long enough to restfully sleep between the days of feeling overwhelmed and overcome. I mean, how can someone ever hope to get to the other side of this depression, anxiety landslide? A guy named Rick Warren, Pastor Rick Warren, author of the Purpose-Driven Life series, Rick Warren, and founder of Saddleback Community Church, he said that in the second year of founding and growing that church, the very church that now has over 20,000 people attending on weekends, that church, well, that founder, Rick, in the first years of the church, was so wrecked and racked with depression that he could barely get out of bed on a daily basis for a full year. And I was there at his church that year on almost every Sunday, and I never knew. I never asked, and he never shared. I found that out later. And Joyce Meyer, author of numerous bestsellers, lead pastor of the Joyce Meyer Ministries, to this very day, she angles and adjusts her way through anxiety every day with prayers, every day with skills, and yes, with prescription pills. And I never noticed. I never asked. And thank God, eventually, she shared. Struggling and juggling our way through mental mazes is hard. It's hard work, and it feels like work, like we're all too often just unqualified for the job. But maybe, just maybe, we're not feeling qualified for the task at hand, for this particular job demand, because it's not a job that's all ours to tackle, all by ourselves. Maybe the one job we have to do is get it out, spit it out, and not try and tackle more than we're meant to, more than our fair share. Our share. There's that noun that acts like a verb. Maybe that's our job, our one job, to spit our own inner gut-wrench truth, no matter how it feels, and allow it to come out of our mouths all over life's playing field, all over our shoes. Could it be that that's our one job? I mean, some folks only have one job. Like the story of this young man. I heard about him he was asked to go all in on the family business, but he was nervous about it, anxious, even to the point of depression, because he knew before he committed to the family business, before he went all in, that he had to have a heart-to-heart talk with his dad. And his dad was one of those who always thought, well, he always knew better. So this young man, before he committed all in to the family business and became fully committed to his one job, when he was going to have a talk with his pop, he asked his buddies who'd been up studying all night cramming for finals to come along and just be there with him for emotional support, you know? So they come along with their friend because they want to be there for him, but they're tired. And, then there's him, their friend, going into a room to have a heart-to-heart with his dad. His buddies were there with him, out in the living room, but still there for moral support. But they were wiped. So they just kept nodding off on the couch after a long night of cramming for finals. So the young man comes out, and he's looking for ideas from his friends and support. And he only keeps finding his friends sacked out and snoring. This happened 3 times. Can you imagine all the depression and anxiety that the young man physically felt? It was literally making him ill. Like he was sweating, between blood, sweat, and tears. That kind of ill. See, this young man at that time knew deep depression and intense anxiety. Can you even imagine? This young man could. He lived it. This young man could fully, 100% understand someone wrestling with anxiety and depression. This young man was Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus spoke with his friends, asked for companionship, asked for their partnership, for their prayer, their support, and for them to do one thing, just one thing. You had just one job. You ever see the character Loki in one of the Thor movies? It's a very famous line that he said. So many flicks, so many movies have that line in it. It must mean something to us. You had one job. It was in Thor. It actually started in Ocean's 11. It was in Boss Baby, in Men in Black, in Jurassic Park. Too many films to count. I'd be awake all night. Oh, that would be anxious. Wow. Just thinking about being awake all night with stuff that could cripple you and crap you out, cripple you with even more anxiety and anxious worry, and pre-fear and crap you out with a significantly sized feeling of insignificance. So wow, what do you do with the weight of those two feelings of anxiety and depression, with that burden? Hey, I got an idea. Be a giver. Share it. When we share our burdens, we should not feel burdened by what we share. Said that last week, and it still holds true, so I'll repeat it to you. When we share our burdens, we should not feel burdened by what we share. Sharing is caring. Yeah, I know, it's cheesy, it's sweet, it's corny, but it's true. Sharing is caring. It's caring about your outcomes. Hell, of course you care. That's why you're anxious and worried with pre-fear. Sharing is caring. Caring about your causes, about your current circumstances, the environment around you. Caring about what causes your current state. Caring about your current status. Where you are, what you see, how you feel. You do care. But more than just caring about those, you care about other people as well. You're not just about you. Remember, a man all wrapped up in himself is a very small package. And remember that sharing is caring. Your sharing shows you're caring because you trust and lay out your burdens, and someone else gets to help. Someone else gets to be invited in. Someone else or multiple someone else's get to be bigger than just themselves. They get to become bigger and not just stay. Very small packages, all wrapped up in themselves. And it's all because you cared. All because you shared. All because you were stressed, because you were depressed. Depressed like the purpose-driven Pastor Rick Warren. All because you were experiencing anxiety like the abundantly confident woman Joyce Meyer. All because you are human. Just like that guy in the garden over 2,000 years ago. The guy who had a conversation with his pop about what he was facing and feared and had a pretty good idea was going to look like. Probably because he was talking to the person who already knew what his son was about to fight through face first. And you don't see nearly as clearly as what lays ahead. No wonder you're anxious. No wonder you're depressed. No wonder you're stressed. But allow yourself the energy and the investment to be aware of this something they call mental health. Mental health awareness, and that makes your way towards mental wellness. And mental wellness shouldn't start in a counselor's waiting room with a pile of magazines. Mental health awareness and wellness must start right now, right here with you. Now, go share some awareness. And if there's no way, no how, nobody that you can share with what you know about your mental health and your mental wellness, then there's no time like now to share with God. Been there waiting for you to come and talk about it anyways. And there ain't nothing you can say that will be too big a burden for you to unload. Too unknown for you to unwrap and unpack. Nothing too scary to share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is a two-way street. To share, lend a voice to something. To share, lend an ear to someone too. Don't block it out. Talk it out. And if you're gonna cover up something, it's not crazy to share your burden, but remember, no one wants to see your nuts. And now more words of wisdom to wow your socks off. This time from the all-new Get Lean, A Woman's Daily Guide to Gratitude, entry page 61. What the expert said? If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Thomas Jefferson. What's your guide heard about that? I know a gal who always reminds me that since here is not there, what got you here will not get you there. So what do you think about that? Using the Get Lean and Live Life Lean guided system, what have you learned recently that's new? What are you earning that isn't just easily handed to you? Where are you sharing, caring, and adding to the world that's not just about you? Now reflect on all that, respect it, be grateful for it. But before you navigate someplace next, please like, subscribe, and share to show you care. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying your copy of the Live Life Lean, L-E-A-N guide. Enjoying it almost as much as I did creating it. And if you don't have a copy yet, go on over to amperage.com or Amazon and get started today experiencing the amazing power of knowing every day is literally yours to be grateful about. And you need never feel unfulfilled again. I'm Jim Hall. And until next time, good health, God bless. And now, go get a little dirty learning something new. Earning what's not given to you. Adding to this crazy world that we share. And navigating your way to something new and next.